Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to MZ Webinars. Today we're talking about how to embed the Gatsby Benchmarks into your college careers information, obviously, as the title would tell you. We're going to be joined, our host today, by Carla Archibald, who is our Business Development Manager for MZ Further Education. And during the course of the webinar, if you have any questions, please put them in the box at the bottom of your control panel and we'll address those at the end of the presentation. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Carla, who's going to be our presenter today. So over to you, Carla.
Thanks, Debbie, and good afternoon, everyone. So as Debbie said, we are looking at the Gatsby benchmarks and how we can embed these into your college career programme, more specifically through using labour market data. So over the next 30 minutes then, we will explore the Gatsby benchmarks in more detail. So we'll have a look at what they actually are, how they came about, why colleges need to meet them, and then more importantly, how we can begin to embed them into our offer. We'll have a look at a few practical examples. For those of you who aren't familiar with our work, I'm going to quickly give you an overview of who we are and what we do. So at MZ, it's our mission to help people make better decisions relating to the world of work. So we do that by providing detailed, robust labour market information to people who are critical in making decisions relating to careers, education and work. So we work across three main sectors. Education, so mainly FE and HE organisations, economic development organisations such as LEPs and local authorities, and the employment sector. So for example, helping staffing companies understand the talent landscape. We just have a few of the colleges that we work with at the bottom there. So what are the Gatsby benchmarks then, and where have they come from? So in 2013, the Gatsby Charitable Foundation commissioned Sir John Holman to set out what good career guidance should look like according to international standards. So the Good Career Guidance report was published as a result of some extensive research around this. And this included a set of 8 benchmarks that schools should use as a framework for improving their careers provision. These were really well received across the country amongst parents, stakeholders, government and teachers and schools. So following further consultation, Gatsby then published the Good Career Guidance Guide for colleges. So the benchmarks set out then to ensure that every school and college has a dedicated careers leader who can provide advice on the best available training routes and the most up-to-date labour market information on the jobs market. The Careers and Enterprise Company also have a key role in supporting colleges in meeting the 8 benchmarks, and they've already begun an extensive set of research projects across the country, a lot of which you can read about in FE Week and FE News. So what are the benchmarks then? So these are the 8 benchmarks set out in the Good Career Guidance report, and that report actually goes into much more detail around each one of them, so what's required in each and how colleges can start to look at meeting these benchmarks. But we're going to look at the 2 underlined in particular over the course of the next 15-20 minutes for obvious reasons. So learning from career and labour market information and linking curriculum learning to careers. So why do we need to meet them? Why is it important that we even take note of these? Well, aside from it being our duty as education providers to help people make better decisions relating to the world of work, there are certain implications of not meeting the benchmarks. So the Gatsby benchmarks were included within the government's career strategy, which was released in December 2017. And that strategy ties into the wider post-16 skills plan and the technical education reforms that we know better as T-levels. So it's all part of a wider strategy to deliver a world-class education. The main aim of the career strategy is to ensure that all young people get the advice and guidance they need in a structured and stable programme. It also sets out that the benchmarks are a way of doing so, and although not statutory, if colleges are non-compliant, the ESFA is able to take action. So basically, what the career strategy is saying is colleges can lose available funding if the Gatsby benchmarks are not met by 2020. So just by way of timescales then, in February this year, the DfE released a updated guidance report on the career strategy and the 8 benchmarks. And by September, every college should have an appointed member of staff as their careers leader. They should also have published their careers programme on their website. So colleges are expected to begin working on meeting these standards right away with an aim to meet all benchmarks by 2020. And it should also be worth mentioning here, as well as the risk of losing grant funding, that a lot of colleges that we've worked with and spoken to recently have had feedback from Ofsted inspections and how the inspectors are taking a kind of close look on how colleges are starting to think about the Gatsby benchmarks. So Ofsted are taking note of this as well. So how can we support education providers in embedding the benchmarks into their offer? So we're going to focus on these 2 in particular, as I mentioned before. So benchmark 2, which is learning from career and labour market information, and benchmark 4, which is linking curriculum learning to careers. So as labour market data specialists, we can provide robust, detailed information about local labour market opportunities. This can then be used by learners, parents and informed careers advisors through labour market tools or MZ's bespoke mapping process. So if we look at the second benchmark in more detail, learning from career and labour market information, it states that every learner and their parents should have access to good quality information about future study options and labour market opportunities. So this starts to raise questions in regards to what local labour market data that we'll need. So what data do parents, advisors and learners need to, what information do they need to start to be able to offer this as a package? So what careers or higher education opportunities are out there locally for learners is a key question. What skills and qualifications do certain occupations require? So what kind of the benchmarks, the skills and the qualification requirements? And what skills are local employers looking for and which positions are they looking to fill? So it's great doing a course, but is this what the local labour market actually need? Are there positions out there for you? And if so, what skills specifically are those employers asking for? The Good Career Guidance Guide also expands on the 4th benchmark in a little bit more detail to state that curriculum learning should be linked to careers, and states that learners should be able to explore how their subjects will help them gain entry into a wide range of occupations. So anybody who knows MZ know that we've got that bespoke mapping process, which allows learners to explore the direct link from the course that they're doing to the career that it typically trains for. So through a range of software and interactive tools, we've got detailed data on local employment trends and wages. We've got that unique mapping process I just spoke about, which links your courses to careers that they train for. This allows progression opportunities to be easily identified, whether that be vocational or higher education. And that's an important point kind of throughout the Good Careers Guidance Report and the Gatsby benchmarks, that this is not just about being able to show academic or vocational options, but being able to have everything in front of the learner to be able to give them options for both. We have ONET data on skills and competencies for over 350 occupations. And we also have job posting analytics data, which allows us to really easily identify local and local employer skills needs within your region. So all this then can be embedded into your careers offer and used in marketing and recruitment activities on your websites or promotional material. It can be used within schools' engagement and outreach activities. So you can take this data out to local schools. Careers advice and guidance activities, so this can be used internally to help with recruitment, admissions processes and progression conversations for existing students. And then again, all these tools and data can be embedded into tutorials and curriculum. So we're going to explore those 4 bullet points in a little bit more detail. So detailed local wage and employment data. So we have access to this data for your local region through our analyst tool. So it makes it easier to identify the most in-demand occupations in the region the college serves. And it also gives learners estimated growth numbers and wage data on the occupations that they're potentially interested in. So if we take a look at this slide in a little bit more detail, we've got some data for the Northwest, some occupation data and wage data. So we can see that in the Northwest, for example, bookkeepers are in the top 5 fastest growing occupations, with just under 10,000 openings over the next 3 years and 1,608 new jobs. We can also see that the average education level for this is a level 2. So we know that it is a suitable occupation for a college course. So bookkeepers also have the 4th highest wage if we look at the bottom graph. So the 4th highest wage in the list, so an average of £11 per hour. And this is just behind primary education teachers, sales accountants and nurses. So for a learner who is interested in this type of occupation in the Northwest, there's good growth opportunity and it's up there with one of the best wages in the top 5 growing occupations. So if we look at bespoke mapping of courses to careers, so look back at that 4th benchmark about linking curriculum to courses. We know it's a big task for any provider to have a detailed understanding of how their courses relate to careers and then have the resource or the ability to carry out that exercise of mapping every single course that they offer to the group of occupations that it typically trains for. So what we can do is have a look at a course, have a look at what occupations that route leads to, and from that occupation we can have a look at wage and employment data to answer questions such as how much can I earn as an accountant, for example, and how many jobs are there in my region. So what this allows the college to do is clearly demonstrate how they're linking curriculum learning to careers to meet the 4th benchmark. So this slide's a great example of that. This is Neskol, so North East Scotland College. Really good example of how a college is linking their courses to the local labour market. But it also shows how the career coach tool in this instance is a great way of displaying all progression opportunities, whether that be vocational or higher education routes. So we've got an occupation here, so an accountant. We've got an associated course with all the relevant information for the course, but we've also got a progression to HE section and then additional higher level qualifications here. So by linking courses to careers in this way, careers advisors are able to give learners the relevant training information and the relevant labour market data on job growth and potential wages all in one place. So this is just a similar example, but what we've got here is, again, the accountant career with related courses, desired skills, but we've also got some labour market data in there. So we've got live job opportunities for the region that this college is in, so Hull. And then we've also got wage data. So we've got entry level, average and potential wage data. So really, really powerful tool for giving learners everything they need on one page. So that brings us on to ONET skills and knowledge data. So within Analyst, we use a data set called the Occupational Information Network, or ONET for short. So this matches skill sets with specific occupations. So we've got competencies of, I think I've chosen an accountant and possibly a plumber on the bottom one. For every occupation, that occupation requires a different mix of knowledge and skills and is obviously performed using a variety of tasks. So with this data, we can help learners understand the skills and knowledge needed for a wide range of occupations and help them to better understand the level of importance of each skill within the jobs that they're interested in. ONET data can be used also to help learners identify and compare similar occupations they're interested in. So as well as looking at skills and knowledge, learners are also able to compare local job demand and wages to help them make informed career decisions. So this slide, for example, shows the job growth comparison of plumbers and scaffolders. So we can see 2018 versus 2021 jobs, but we've got employment numbers there, so job growth numbers. We can see that scaffolders are not as growing at a higher rate as plumbers, but there's still some growth there. And we've also got the wage comparison for an accountant and a finance officer. So the top light green line shows the wage progression for an accountant, and then the bottom dark green line shows the wage progression for a finance officer. So again, really, really powerful stuff in helping learners compare a wide range of careers that their course may take them to. So the last bullet point was all around job postings data and identifying employer needs with job posting analytics. So job postings data can be extremely helpful in ensuring learners have got the right skills and expertise in their chosen field of study and then career. So it allows learners and advisors to identify which employers are currently hiring in their region and what roles they're looking to fill. So it gives learners the advantage of understanding exactly what skills local employers need, as well as knowing what live job vacancies are actually out there. So if we take a look at this slide, we've got a search for accountants in the Northwest, so the wider government office region of the Northwest. So we can see that most vacancies for accountants in the Northwest region are being advertised in the Greater Manchester South region. And then we've got them kind of equally spread amongst the other five areas. There's also the top 50 most recent job postings available. So underneath that, the analyst software would allow you to go and explore live job vacancies. And job posting analytics is actually updated monthly. So every month you get a full list of unique job postings from hundreds and thousands of different sources on the web. So job postings data can also tell us who the top companies posting are, but more importantly, what skills their companies are searching for. So for example, we've got two graphs here. We've got top companies posting. So January 2018 to April 2018, we've got some of the top companies posting for accountants. We've got Grant Thornton UK and Britannia Hotels, as well as a couple of other companies, and we also have staffing agencies and recruitment agencies within that as well. You can filter those out. So we can see on the bottom, we've got top hard skills or most in-demand skills. So what this basically is a count up of postings with the top skills that are being advertised for by employers. For example, for accountants, we've got 22 postings that have specified a requirement for an ACCA qualification. So that's this one here. And we can also see that 15 postings have asked for a candidate with experience of Microsoft Excel. So really, really powerful data in being able to pinpoint specifically what what skills employers want. And just a reminder, this is local, so it's not national skills, it's the skills that the local employers are asking for. If we did a search for accountants in London, for example, those top skills might be a completely different skill set to what firms are looking for out of an accountant in the Northwest. So just to kind of give another example of that point, I've done the same thing for web developers. So we've got a job postings overview, and we've had a look at job titles for web developers. So in the first 5 months of 2018, there's been 1,275 unique job postings for this occupation within the Northwest, and they're typically live for around 25 days, which gives us an idea of posting intensity and the time it's taken for companies to hire. So from this data then, we can see that most employers are seeking individuals with front-end developer skills or PHP developer skills. And from the postings trend graph, so that's this unique postings trend graph here, we can see that in the last 2 months, that need for front-end developer skills has gone up a fair amount, whereas we can see the demand for web developers is kind of flatlined and PHP developers have gone down. So that gives us a really good idea of who's hiring for what, when, and kind of emerging skills trends. So job posting analytics, really, really helpful. So before I summarise then and bring the webinar to a close and have time for some questions, I just wanted to take a few minutes to share some of our latest software developments. So this is a sneak peek of MZ Engage. So this is our new product, which will allow easier creation and integration of labour market data into things like marketing and careers materials. So it's a marketing tool that allows your marketing and creative departments to really quickly get presentation ready content, generate live infographics to be able to embed into websites and social media, and also all customization, really, really easy to create customized infographics with college colours and logos. This will allow you to access the full range of MZ data. So you've got a range of parameters on there which will allow you to really easily create content ready infographics around wage and employment data. So it's currently in development and is scheduled for release in Q4 of this year. So we'll keep you updated with that, and nearer the time we will be able to give a little bit of a live web demonstration of the new tool. So really, really exciting. So to wrap things up then, we have looked at the context behind the career strategy, the 8 benchmarks, and the reasons why the colleges need to implement them or begin to think about implementing them ahead of the 2020 deadline. So good career guidance is a necessity for delivering technical education reforms. It ties into that wider post-16 skills plan, and the Gatsby Benchmarks basically set out that colleges need to offer high quality careers guidance for learners to be able to make quality informed decisions about their future. So we took a more detailed look at benchmarks 2 and 4 and explored how various elements of labour market data can support careers advisors in giving parents and learners the relevant labour market information and linking those courses up to careers. We also looked at various examples of how colleges are currently doing this, and kind of as a whole wider context, just being able to help colleges clearly demonstrate the link between curriculum learning and the careers it trains for. So that's all from today's webinar. You will get the slides by way of follow-up. My details are on the screen. We'd love to hear about some of the issues and challenges around this, any questions or anything that I have been through over the last 20 minutes. Happy to discuss on a one-to-one basis. But I think Debbie, do we have any questions?
Well, that was great. Thanks very much for the presentation, Carla. It was really interesting. Unfortunately, we haven't got any questions, but I'm sure if
Okay.
anybody has anything, they can always drop you an email, yeah, and then you could get back to them personally.
Yep, absolutely. My contact details are on the slide, email and phone number. So anybody who wants to discuss further, I'm happy to arrange a meeting and talk through in a bit more detail. Thanks very
Well,
much for your time, guys.
thank you. Bye.